In this question, we're asked to prove triangle ADP is congruent to triangle CBQ. So our triangle ADP is this triangle here. And our triangle CBQ, so CBQ is this triangle here. We're asked to prove those two triangles are congruent. So the four conditions to prove something is congruent. The first one is that we can prove that they have all same sides. Second way to prove it is angle on both sides, so two same angles and a side that's common. The third way is side angle side, and the fourth way to prove it is right angle hypotenuse and side. So we can use those four ways to prove two triangles are congruent. So let's have a look. What do they have in common? So firstly, I can see that A, B, C, D are parallelogram. So A, B, C, D are parallelogram. Therefore, we can say that AD is equals to BC, because opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal, as you can see here. So those are two sides of parallelogram. So opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal. Okay, let's look at what other information do we have. We have angle PAD, so PAD, so we have this angle here. So just have a look at this is our parallelogram, and we have this angle here, which is PAD. It's the same as this angle here, which is BCQ. So angle, those two angles are equal, QCB. So we know those two angles are equal because they are opposite angles of a parallelogram. So opposite angles in a parallelogram are equal. And finally, that we are given that the angle ADP and angle CBQ are equal, and they're both 90 degrees. So angle ADP is equals to angle CBQ, and it's equals to 90 degrees, and it's given. So we'll just prove that those two triangles are equal because of angle side angle. So we proved angle side and angle. So just the last reason, just state make a conclusion that they are congruent. So I'm just going to write here. So your conclusion that they are congruent because of angle side. Part B asks to explain why AQ is parallel to PC. So I'm just going to clear the diagram. So in here we ask to say why is AQ, so AQ. Why is AQ is parallel to PC? So we need to identify that the pairs are equals inside. So AP is equals to QC, because we can see here we have a parallelogram here. We can say that AP is equals to CQ. So we can say that AP and CQ are equal. So I'm just going to, so AP is equals to CQ because we just proved that those two triangles are congruent. Therefore, those two lines are equal. So it is using the previous question, we proved that they are congruent. So we can say that AP is equals to CQ since the triangles are congruent. Then we can say that this is a parallelogram. As we can see, those two are equal, and we have a parallelogram here. Therefore, opposite sides of a parallelogram are parallel. We can see that APCQ is a parallelogram. So opposite sides are parallel. So opposite side Question 12. So we have a solid A with a volume which is 80, and we want to work out the volume of solid B. So in here we need to memorize what we spoken in lesson. So what is the scale factor from the small shape to the large shape? So the scale factor is 2. So remember we said if we're talking about lengths of the bigger shape, so the large, is equals to the scale factor multiplied by the length of the smaller shape. If we talk about area, it would be of the larger shape will be scale factor squared multiplied by the area of the small shape. If we talk about volume, it will be the scale factor cubed. So the volume of the larger shape is equals to the scale factor cubed multiplied by the volume of the smaller shape. Then in here, we want to work out the volume of B. So B is a larger shape, so B would equals to the scale factor cubed multiply the volume of the smaller shape. And we know that we want to find B, and we know that the scale factor is 2 and its volume, so we have to cube our scale factor and multiply the volume of A, which is 80. So your answer should be 2 cubed multiplied by 80, and that is 640. Part B, we taught that the total surface area, so this is an area, so the area of the larger shape, which is B, is equals to the scale factor squared multiplied by the area of the smaller shape A. So we taught the volume, the surface area of B is 160. Scale factor is 2, so it's 2 squared multiplied by the scale factor of the smaller shape. So we're just working it backward. So 160 equals to 2 squared is 4 times A. So 4 times A is 160. Therefore, A must equals to 40. So the surface area of A is 40. So in here we have 3 solids, A, B, and C, and we are taught they are similar. So the surface area of A is 4. So it's similar to the last question, which we know about length is scale factor, area is scale factor squared, and volume is scale factor cubed. So let's transfer them all to length. So if we think about it, if we thought that the surface area of the shape A is 4, and the surface area of B is 25. So how I think about this is that I want them all to translate into the same ratio, which is, so area is something squared, so we have 4 root 4, which is equals to root 25. So that is the same as 2 to 5. So the ratio of A to B, the length, the proportion of the length is 2 to 5. So this is the length ratio. Then we tell the ratio of the volume of B to the volume of C is 27 to 64. So if we know that this is A, this is B, then we tell that B and C, the volume is 27 to 64. Then we want to translate this into length ratio. We need to cube roots. So therefore the length ratio of B to C is 3 to 4. So we know the length ratio of A to B is 2 to 5. Length ratio of B to C is 3 to 4. The question wants us to work out the ratio of height of A to C. Therefore, we need to make B the same. So we find out the highest the lowest common multiplier, which is 15. So we multiplied 5 by 3, so this is 6 to 15. And 3 multiplied by 5, so this is 20. So the height would be of A to C must be 6 to 20. So in a simple word is that we have 3 similar solids and that we are given areas and volume. So we want to convert all of them into proportions of lengths, then we can compare. Question 14. Write a best of 1 for 8,500 plus VAT at 20%. She pays a deposit for the van. She then pays the rest of the cost in 12 equal payments. Find the ratio of the deposit pays to the total of the 12 equals. So firstly, we want to find out what is the total price of the van. So what is the total price of the van? It will be VAT, which is 20%. So the total amount of one would be 8,500 multiplied by 1.2. Remember, VAT at 20%, that means the volume is 20% more expensive. And how do we convert this into a decimal multiplier? We start with 100%, add 20%, which is 120%. Then convert into decimal multiplier, which is 1.2. So the price of the van you have to pay in total would be 10,200. And we tell that she pays a deposit and the rest in 12 equal payments. This means that her total payment is equals to her deposit plus 12 lots of the installments, which is 531.25. So her 12 equal payment. So the total amount we know, which is 10,200, is equals to the deposit plus 12 times 531.25, which is 6,375. Therefore, her deposit must be 3,825. And we want to write out the ratio of the deposit to the 12 equal payments. So her deposit is 3,825 and her 12 equal payment is 6,375. And we need to simplify our answers. So one way to do this is that we can just keep simplifying. One way is that we can make this into 1. So how do we get from 3,825? So we got to divide by 3,825. And similarly here, we got to divide by 3,825. And that is 5/3. So it's 1 to 5/3. Alternatively, you could also write as 1 to 1.6. Or some of you might write 51 to 85. So you get marks for all those answers. Question 15. So, Dion needs 50 grams of sugar to make 15 biscuits. She also needs 3 times as much flour as sugar. So she has 15 biscuits, and for sugar, she needs 50 grams. Then she also needs flour, which is 3 times as sugar. So it's 3 times as sugar. And she also needs butter, which is 2 times as sugar. So Dion is going to make 60 biscuits. Work out the amount of flour she needs. So let's work out. If she's making 15 biscuits, she needs 3 much of sugar, which is 3 times 50, which is 150 grams of flour. But she's now making 60. So that means she needs 4 lots more. So that means she's making 4 lots of 15 biscuits. And if she's making 15, she needs 150. Now she's making 60, so we need 4 lots of 150. So she will need 600 grams of flour. Now we told that she needs to buy all butter she needs to make 60 biscuits. So how much butter does she need to make 15 biscuits? It will be 2 lots of 50, which is 100 grams. So she needs 100 grams to make 15 biscuits, but she's now making 60 biscuits. She will need 4 lots of 100. So she will need 400 grams in total. And we asked how many packs does she need to buy. So 1 pack would be 250. That's not enough. So she needs to buy 2 packs. She would have 500 grams. So that would be enough. So the answer would be 2. Okay, solve the simultaneous equation. So here we have a quadratic and a linear equation. So the step to do this is that we need to firstly rearrange the linear equation. So into x is equals to 2 minus y. So to do this type of simultaneous equation, we need to substitute the linear equation into the quadratic. So x is the same as 2 minus y. So we have 2 minus y squared plus y squared equals to 9. Expand our bracket. So 2 minus y squared is same as 2 minus y plus y squared equals to 9. Expand our bracket. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times minus y is minus 2y. Minus 2y plus y squared. Simplify our expression. So I have 4 minus 4y plus 2y squared equals to 9. Rearrange our equation to make it equals to 0 and solve. So I have 2y squared minus 4y. So now remember here, I have this 4 here and this 9. So I'm just subtracting my 9 on this side. So 4 minus 9 becomes minus 5. Then we'll need our quadratic equation. So if we remember to memorize this by heart, so x is equals to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a to find out x. So remember, we have a quadratic here, so the value of a is 2, value of b is minus 4, and value of c is minus 5. So just substituting here, so minus b, which is minus minus, so remember in here, this is the normal equation, but here usually we'll have the equation of finding quadratic with x, but in here we actually have y, so your answer would actually be the values for your y. So type it into your calculator, you should get y is equals to 2.87 or minus 0.87. In the next step, we need to find out x. Then we can just use this equation here. So we know that our x is equals to 2 minus y. So our first solution is when y is 2.87. So when y is 2.87, so x is equals to 2 minus 2.87. Therefore, we know our x is equals to minus 0.87. So when x equals to minus 0.87, our y is equals to 2.87. Or our scenario 2 is when x is equals to 2 minus 0.87. So when y is minus 0.7, our x is equals to 2.87. So we have our solution when x is 2.87, our y is minus 0.87, and when x is minus 0.87, our y is 2.87. Question 17 here. So we're told that Ali invests £2,000 in cash in the savings account. This is a saving account. Ben invests 1,600 into the shares account. Work out who will get the most interest by the end of 3 years. So firstly, we need to work out Ali. So how much money will Ali get by the end of 3 years? So remember, it's interest, so it's going up. So we always start with 100%, add our percentage, then divide by 100. Will give us the decimal multiplier. So in here we have 100 plus 2.5, 102.5%, divided by 100, which is 1.025. And it's to the power of 3. So at the end of year 3, Ali will receive $2,153.78. And how much interest would that be? So it would be take away 2,000. So she will receive 153.78. what about Ben? So Ben invests 1,600 and the interest is 3.5. So it would be 100 plus 3.5, which is 103.5, divided by 100, which is 1.035 to the power of 3. Which is 177.3.95 minus what he has originally. He received 173.95. So what card will get the most interest by the end of 3? So Ben will get more. So it's Ben who received more, so 173. Then part B, we just taught that in the third year, the rate of interest has changed. For the share account, so the share account is Ben's account, has changed to 4%. Does this affect who gets the most interest? The answer is no. So one way you could do it is just work out Ben's interest. So Ben's new interest would be 16,000 times 1.04 to the power of 3. Which is in the third year, the rate of interest for the share. So just ignore this part. So in the third year, so it's only the third year that has changed. Therefore, the first 2 years, it's still not 1.035 for the first 2 years. So at the end of the first 2 years, he received 1713.96. Then the next year, his interest would be 1.04. Then that's how much money he gets at the end of 3 years. Then subtract his original amount, so his interest is now 182.52. So all you have to say is there's no change, since there's no change because Ben still received 182.5 and is still greater than Ali. Question 18. So Natalie pays this amount for the car. Lauren pays this amount for a car. Assume the rate of depreciation for Natalie's car is 12%. So remember, depreciation, that means it's going down. So work out whose car will have a greater value at the end of 3 years. So depreciation is going down. So again, we always start by 100%. We subtract 12%, which is 88%. Change that into decimal multiplier, which is 0.88. So for Natalie's car, after 3 years, would be 13995 multiplied by 0.88 to the power of 3. end of 3 years, Natalie's car would be 9,537.20, whereas Lauren's, again, work out the decimal multiplier. Then Lauren's amount is 14,495 multiplied by 0.87 to the power of 3. It's 9545. So whose car will have greater value at the end of 3 years? So Lauren will have greater value. So this is greater. So the rate of depreciation assumes for Natalie's car was too low. How did this affect the value of her car at the end of 3 years? So if it's saying rate of depreciation was low, that means it's going to be more than 12%. If the rate of depreciation is greater, the value of her car would be less. So her car would worth less. So her car will be worth less in 3 years. Gary drove from London to Sheffield. It took him 3 hours at an average speed of 80 kilometers per hour. Lynn drove from London to Sheffield. She took 5 hours. Assuming that Lynn drove along the same road as Gary and did not take a break, work out Lynn's average speed. So firstly, we can find out the total distance from London to Sheffield. So remember, distance is equals to time multiplied by speed. So the total distance is 240 kilometers from London to Sheffield. And we're told that we want to find the speed, and we know speed is equals to distance over time. So distance is 240 divided by her time is 5 hours. So it's going to be 48. So it's 48 kilometers per hour. If Lynn did not drive along the same road, explain how did this affect your answer to part A. So she might be driving a different distance. So they're not driving the same road. The distance they traveled will be different. So she may drive a different distance. If her distance was different, her average speed will also be different, because if she's traveling, for example, 300 kilometers in 5 hours, her average speed will increase. And therefore her average speed And finally, the last question. So Bill wants to increase 150 by 3%. explain why this is wrong. So remember what's our method? We always start from 100%, then we plus our percentage, which is 103%, divided by 100 give us the decimal multiplier, which is 1.03. So why is he wrong? Because he should be multiplying by 1.03. So this question want to decrease. So remember, decrease is we subtract. So it will be 100 subtract 3, which is 97%, and change that into decimal multiplier by divide by 100 is 0.97. Then just type into your calculator 150 multiplied by 0.97. You should have 145.5.